Hello, welcome to my channel ZeroToSiva. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about XML and XSD basics. We are going to understand what are namespaces, etc. So let us get started without wasting any time. What is XML? I hope you might be knowing XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. That means we can extend this language. That means we can define our own tags. So basically in XML, there will be lot of tags. Each tag can have child tags, attributes, etc. So you can describe your own XML or you can create your own tags. That is the reason why it is saying extensible. Okay. First, why do we need XML? Let us try to understand. Assume that I have two applications, application A, application B. B is developed in .NET or whatever language, and A is developed in Java. Now, application A is having some data. Application A got some data, maybe from its database, and it created an object. Now, whatever data is there, this application A wants to send to B. Assume that in my database I have a table of customers. So assume that application A created a customer object. Object has data, right? Like customer ID, customer name, etc. So that data inside customer object, application A want to send to B. How can application A send this object? Yes, it is possible to send objects over the network. We can send, but once B gets it, it has to understand the format of this object, right? It is Java format. The object is created in Java format. The .NET application may not understand whatever is coming. So what we need is we need a language neutral representation of data. So whatever data application A is sending, we also should be able to understand. So we want language neutral representation of data. That is the reason why we use XML. So what this application can do is it can actually convert this customer object to an XML. Maybe the XML will contain customer tag, and customer tag may have an attribute customer ID is equals to, and inside customer tag it will have all the other fields like first name, last name, all the other tags. So application A will convert the object to XML and send it to B. B will receive the XML and it can recreate its own object using that data. So basically XML is used for data transfer so that application can exchange data in a language neutral representation. Okay, now you understood why XML. But my next question will be, that is okay, A is sending customer as XML, but how does B know what all tags will be there in customer? In customer, maybe there are tags like first name, last name, city, country, etc. When B is receiving data, it might need to understand what could be the structure of this XML so that it can read the data accordingly. So, how to describe the structure of my XML? So, that is nothing but we write a file called as XSD, XML schema definition. So, we define whatever tags we are going to use in our XML in a schema file, XSD file, XML schema definition file. Hey, coming to any programming language like Java, suppose if you are saying that you are creating a customer object, customer object you are creating in your application. To create an object, I hope you know there should be a class definition. Class is nothing but a data structure. So normally in your application, you might be having a class called as customer, and in customer class, you might have defined fields like ID, first name, last name, whatever fields you want, you will be describing in the class. Once you have the class definition, you will be able to create an object. So can I say that object is an instance of this class? Yes, of course. Once we have a class definition, we can create multiple objects. So where are you defining your customer? Inside a class definition. What all fields are there in customer? How do I know? By looking at class definition. Similarly, in XML, you have these tags. Customer tag is having attribute called as ID. Child tags called as first name, last name. You define all this structure of your tags inside an XSD. Okay. So class in Java or in .NET, it is a complex type, is it? You have some simple types like int, float, double, etc. are simple types in any programming language. Using that simple types, what we do, we create a complex data structure called as class. Class, I can say it is a complex type you define. Similarly, in XSD also, we define complex types. Let me show you how I'm going to create a schema file for a customer XML. Okay. Okay. But before that, I will not create for customer first. Assume that we are writing an application for order management system. One order can have multiple order items, right? So I want to define a complex type called as order, order item, etc. So let me define a schema for it. And in that schema, you'll understand various concepts of what is a namespace, etc. Right? So let us get started. Actually, I'm using this IDE called as Anypoint Studio. Normally in Mule, we use this as our IDE. This is equivalent to Eclipse if you have worked with Java. Don't worry, you don't need to know what is this IDE doing, but just I will explain the concept by creating a simple schema. So what I will do is I'll create a new project, a general project. Under general, I'll select this project. I'll give the name as XML basics. Finish. Okay. Now I want to create a schema file inside it. I'll create new other. See, there is under XML, there is XML schema file. I will select this. Now I'll have to give the name. I'll give the name as orders.xsd. Orders.xsd. Fine. Finish. Okay. It created a XSD file. The root tag is schema. Okay. And there is something called as target namespace and a lot of other things are there. I will explain you. So in this schema file, the root tag is schema. That's fine. What I want to do is I want to define a complex type called as order. So I will write here complex type. I will give the name as order. Okay. Normally in XML, if you are having a order tag, the root tag is order, maybe under order, I want to have child elements like uh, order ID. I want a child tag called as order ID and customer ID. This order will be for a particular customer and some other tags. But I also want to make sure that the order of these tags is important. Order ID should be the first tag, then customer ID should be the next tag. So I want order. Maybe in XML, we want the tags to be in a particular sequence, right? So what I'll have to do is under complex type, I will define a sequence of tags. Sequence. Okay. Then I want the first tag inside order to be order ID. So tags can be defined by using an element. Element name is equals to order ID. And I want to specify this order ID to be of a specific type. I can specify here type is equals to int. Actually, int is a predefined type already defined inside XML schema, just like a primitive type in any programming language. I am specifying this as a int. Okay, I want one more tag. Tag is nothing but element. I want to give a name as customer ID. Okay, and again I want its type to be int. Fine. And I also want customer name. Okay, for example, or I want delivery address. I want a tag called as delivery address. Element name is equals to delivery address where this order has to be delivered. I want its type to be a string. Yes, there is a predefined type called as string. So I defined that this order is a complex type and it has all this child elements in this particular sequence. Okay, but complex type is equivalent to a class definition. In this schema, I also wanted to define a tag called as order of type this complex type. So what I can do is I can write an element name is equals to order and what is a type? My own type. This is my own type. So what I will do is I will write type is equals to order. Okay, if I just go down here, there is something called as TNS colon order. Oh, TNS. What is this TNS? If I just write order, it is not going to take. It is giving an error. I just have to prefix it with TNS. Why TNS? Actually, let us try to understand clearly. See here in the schema root tag, there is something called as target namespace. What is this target namespace? Actually, what is the concept of namespaces? So let me compare it with whatever you might be knowing, maybe in Java or .NET or in any object-oriented programming. Whenever you are defining a class, assume that you are defining a class called as customer. Okay, you are defining a class called as customer. Don't you declare that inside a package? Normally, the package will be something like reverse of your domain name. Suppose my domain name is lwww in. So reverse of it. Package is in.lwww. This is a package. So actually, whenever a .java file is created or .class file is created, if I declare that it goes to package, what will happen? In the folder, in the directories, there will be in directory, and inside that in directory, there will be subdirectory lwww. Inside this, there will be customer .java or .class files will be inside it. Okay. So this customer is in this package. Now, my question is, can I have one more class called as customer in the same application? Can we have two classes with same name? Yes, it is possible. But maybe in some other package, in same package, you cannot have a same class, right? So you can create a class with same name, but in a different package. So package identifies a class uniquely. Similar to packages in Java, in schema, we have namespaces. So whatever complex types I'm declaring here in this XSD, all the complex types belong to this particular namespace. By default, whenever I created my schema, it gives something like www.example.org. But my website is lwww.in. I'll give my website. Why am I giving a target namespace as a URL? Because whenever I'm defining my own tags, um, the namespace for my tags must be unique. This is my website lwww.in. Why will some other company use my website in the target namespace? Definitely not, right? So in my company, I will use, whenever I'm defining any schema, I will use this base, my URL as a base, and I'm defining order related complex types. I'm giving slash orders. So the target namespace is unique. All the XMLs, all the complex types, whatever we are defining here, they belong to this namespace. Okay. Now, again here, if you see, there is XML ns colon TNS. It is pointing to whatever was previous. Now I have to replace this. I'll copy this and paste it. Now, here after XML ns, I gave colon TNS. This is something called as a prefix we say for this namespace. So what I am telling is, hey, whenever I'm going to refer to any complex type defined in this particular namespace, I will use a prefix called as TNS. So here you can see in element order, I want to refer to a complex type defined in this namespace. So I have to prefix with this TNS. It need not be TNS. It can be my, whatever it is. I'll give something like my NS. Okay. So here also I have to write my NS. That means I am saying whenever I am going to use or refer to a complex type defined in this current namespace, I will use a prefix called as my NS. Right? That is the meaning of it. So I defined a complex type called as order, and I defined a tag of type order. Right? Now let us create an XML which is using this XSD. See here, very interesting things will be there. I'll create a new other XML file. My XML file name I'll give as something like my order. Next, here I want to create an XML file using XML schema file. I selected this option. Next, and I will select the XSD. From this XSD, I want to create an XML. Next. And here it is asking, hey, in this XSD, there is namespace information, my NS, right? So do you want to use it? Yes. Finish. Now see the XML, my order.xml is created. You can see the root tag is order belonging to this namespace, my NS. If you see, there is XML NS colon my NS, the prefix defined, pointing to the namespace. Okay. And I wanted you to observe here, there is something called as XSI schema location. Here this tells for this particular namespace, where is the schema? This is the schema. Actually, I have this orders XSD in the same folder. So that's why directly the name is given. If it is at some other URL, I should have provided here the URL of the XSD. I should point to the location, exact location, right? So we are defining that in this XML, I'm going to use tags belonging to this namespace. Whenever I'm going to define a tag defined in this namespace, I'm going to use a prefix called as myNS. So you can see the root tag is myNS colon order, and it has order ID, customer ID, and delivery address as a child tags. Oh, all the child tags also are having the prefix. If I remove the prefix, will this work? No, it is giving an error because this XML does not understand where is this order ID defined. Of course, I have defined this order ID tag inside order tag in this namespace. So whenever I'm referencing to any tags defined in this namespace, I have to use a prefix, this prefix. Then the editor will understand, okay, this is a tag defined in this namespace. Oh, but it is not looking good. Every tag needs to have, oh, see, this is my NS, right? I have to give my NS. Fine. Every time I'm using a tag, I don't want to use this prefix. Okay. So what I will do is, here in the schema definition, there is a tag called as element form default is qualified. I will make it as unqualified. So that means I can use a element without namespace. What is the meaning of this unqualified? Let us see. I'll delete this XML, my order.xml, and recreate it. So you will see the difference. Again, I'm going to create a new XML. I'll give the name as whatever, my order.xml. Next, I want to create an XML using that existing schema. I'm selecting that schema. And of course, these namespace declarations are there. I will take all the defaults, finish. Now here you can see only the root tag is having the namespace. For child tags, I don't have the namespaces because all the child tags will inherit the namespace from the parent. So parent namespace will be inherited by all the child tags. So whenever I'm writing any child tag, I don't need to specify the namespace. Good. You understood the meaning of element form default. Fine. Now, what I want to do is, I want to again create one more complex type called as order item. Normally, if you are creating an order class in Java or so, if this is my order class, one order will contain order ID, and some other fields. And one order contains list of order items. So one order may contain multiple order items. So just like this, I want to have my order to contain list of order item. So I have to define a type called as order item first. Then I can define a list of items inside order. So let me define another complex type called as order item. Okay. So I will write one more complex type. Name is order item and let it have attribute again. Oh, sorry. Attribute here. For order item tag, I want order ID to be an attribute. So this is how I can define an attribute. ID is equals to order item ID and its type. I want it to be integer. Int. Fine. Sorry, I have to give name, not ID. Okay. This is attribute name. Now I want to again define a sequence. I'll write sequence. And inside the sequence, I want to write the child tag names. I want to write an element called as item name. Order item name. Its type, I want it to be string. And again, I also want to define quantity. Another element called as quantity. How much quantity is ordered. And its type, I want it to be int. Then finally, I also want the item price. And type, I want it to be int. Fine. I define that order item contains an attribute called as order item ID and a sequence of child tags. Hey, I'm getting an error in sequence. Why? Sequence is invalid, it is saying the error message or misplaced. Actually, according to the schema, attribute tag should come next to sequence. The order is important. See, this schema file also is an XML, right? Schema also is an XML. So for schema tag, there should be a XSD definition, right? In which namespace are these tags complex sequence defined? This is the namespace. In this namespace, they have defined. Fine. So in that namespace, while they are defining, they have defined sequence should come first, then attribute. Now the error is gone. I defined order item. Fine, a complex type. Now what I want is in order. I want a tag called as order items. So I will write element name is equals to order items and I want this element order items to contain an array of these order items, again a sequence. So inside this element I'm going to define complex type. This element itself, order items itself, is a complex type, and it should have a sequence of elements. Name is equals to order item, and its type is uh, nothing but order item. Here I define this order item, right? So I will use my ns colon order item, right? But under order items, I might want a list of order item tags, multiple order item tags. So I will write min occurs is equals to 1. There should be at least one order item, and max items is equals to unbounded. So under order items, I might want multiple order item tags. So max occurs equals to unbounded. I said minimum, there should be one order item tag. So let me make it as 2. That means it says minimum 2 order items, 2 order item tags must be there inside order items. So you understood about min occurs, max occurs. It tells how many times this tag can come under order items. So now let me generate XML using this. Okay. So now see here in this order XML, it is giving an error now. Why is it say? What is it saying? The element my ns colon order is not complete. Order items is expected, right? So anyways, I'm going to delete this. Fine. Now I'm going to create new other XML file. I'll give the file name as my order. Next, I wanted to use this schema. I will select the schema. Next, and I want the root element to be the order tag, whatever defined. Finish. Now, do you see that order tag is a root tag? It contains order items, which is of course a complex type, which contains a list of or sequence of these order items. There are 2 order items, minimum generated automatically, because min occurs is 2, I said. So just while generating, it generates a valid XML, and max is unbounded. There can be multiple order item tags. So I hope now you understood how I define the structure of my order to contain order items like this. Okay. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now I wanted to actually define another another XSD, where I define my other complex types like customer. So let us see, what if I have 2 XSDs? What if I want to use tags belonging to 2 XSDs? Let me tell you. Here I'll create a new other XML schema file. I'll give this XSD file name as customers.xsd. Finish. Okay. So what is this namespace? Again, I want to give http://lwww.in, my website, /customers. This is again unique. Okay. So I'll again give this in the prefix XML and S colon TNS also. Fine. Now, I want the element form default to be unqualified. I don't want to use prefix for all child tags. Fine. Now here I am going to define a complex type with name customer and let it have a sequence of customer ID element and let it be of type int. So I want it to be very simple. I'll just give another element name is equals to full name and I want it to be of type string. Fine. Now, after these two tags, I want to say there can be any other tag. There can be any other tag. I will write any. Hmm? Any element says there can be any tag. The tag name I'm not specifying. I'm just specifying any tag, and I will just tell process contents exactly as lax. Process content strict is a default. I'll give as lax. What is the meaning of process contents lax? You'll understand later. Okay. So I just told that in customer after full name there can be any tag. Okay. Let me create an XML for this customer using this XSD. And also first of all, if I have to create an XML using XSD, I have to define an element uh, we're using that customer element name is equals to customer and type is equals to tns colon customer. So I gave by default I took tns as the prefix, so I'm using tns colon customer. Fine. Now I will create an XML using this. No other XML file. I will write the file name as my customer.xml. Next, I want to use existing schema customer.xsd. Root tag I want as customer, and of course it is using the namespaces. Finish. So here it is actually writing customer ID, full name, but there can be any tag, right? I said any tag, right? I should have given min occurs as 0. That means this can be optional. But as I didn't give min occurs, by default, min occurs is 1. That means any tag should be present. So by default, what it did is it automatically wrote the first tag. Now, what I want is in this customer tag, I want to actually use order tag. I want to use order tag. Yes. But it didn't give any error. I said any tag, right? I just wrote any tag. But what I want to do is I want to use the order defined inside this XSD. So how to use uh, this order type defined in this XSD? Very simple. What all you have to do is you have to write a namespace declaration in your root tag. So what is the namespace, target namespace of this orders.xsd? This one. I'll copy this. And then in my customer, I will write XML NS colon I will write or orders is equals to there is a XML. And once I define a namespace with prefix like this, I have to specify the schema location also. So in this schema location, what I will do is I'll paste that and write the location orders dot XSD. So I'm saying, sorry, XSD. I'm saying for this namespace, the XSD can be seen at this URL. As the XSD is in the same folder, I'm giving the relative name. If the XSD is at some other place, I have to give that URL. Okay. So I told that. Then I'm going to use here orders colon order. Now, better what I will do is I have my orders.xml. I'll copy all this because it is telling the content element order is not complete. Order ID is expected. So I need to pass all that mandatory fields. So here I copy paste. So now do you see that customer tag has order tag belonging to this namespace? And for all the other childs, there is no namespace because they inherit the namespace from its parent. That's fine. This is an order. One customer has multiple orders. Now you understood that. Uh, Now you understood how to use multiple XSDs schemas in a single XML, right? That is what I wanted you to know. I wanted you to understand what is this namespace prefix, what is the meaning of schema location. And I also wanted you to understand a basic schema. In schema, what is the meaning of target namespace? You understood, right? Whatever complex types I'm going to define here, they are actually belonging to this target namespace. That's the meaning. So I wanted you to understand these basics of XML. Actually, there is a lot more about XML. There are different kinds of tags which we can define, but we don't need all that discussion for going further. So for our next discussions entirely in SOAP or Mule, this fundamentals are sufficient. So that's about the basics. You don't need much more than this. That's all. I will see you in next lecture. Thank you.